All right, so here's our new problem. The little O-ring that goes through the tank that holds the fluid in, and we're running diesel, and this little valve here turns the fluid on and off when you're using it or not using it. Apparently that little O-ring doesn't like diesel. The tank is perfectly solid, but the little O-ring and this hose that comes with it really doesn't like diesel either. So we're gonna have to, if we're gonna use diesel, we're gonna have to upgrade. So unfortunately, we're in the middle of the woods and all I got is sawdust. I'm gonna throw a bunch of sawdust under this and see if I can keep from making a big old giant mess. I can go throw it on the burn pile. So let me give you a recap of what happened. I don't know where this is going to play out in this video. So this little valve goes right in here, and we've been running diesel. Well, that little O-ring, that there's like a grommet that went there, it absolutely did not like diesel at all and eat it to pieces. These little hoses here are not extremely fond of the diesel either. So I'm going to go ahead and replace. I got some parts. I'm going to make something up. Let's see what we can do here. All right, so I've got my kit, got some drill bits, brought my tools, got a little bit of everything. Got some hose. I don't know how much I'll need. You think I got chicken strips, don't you, buddy? This is not chicken strips. It's gonna be very disappointing. You gonna smell it? Come here. Nope, that ain't chicken strips. Anything that's got plastic on it, he thinks chicken strips. So I've got this kit, and this may be too thick. And what I mean by that, the sawmill has a pinch off valve where it actually cuts the fluid off when it pinches the hose. And this hose is pretty stout, so especially when it's cold. But this kit comes with little clamp rings. These are fine because I don't really like them, but they're fine for this because it's just gravity. And then I got some new brass valves, and I got a new through the tank doohickey. That's the technical name, doohickey. It does come with a couple of actually true hose clamps. And we'll drill through and make sure that there's a hole big enough to go through that tank. I really need some sort of, I should have brought an O-ring. An O-ring would have been better. It is plastic, so it's going to kind of pinch down on the plastic. Valve's a big deal. Guess I could put a filter in there, make sure no nasty stuff got in through there. No. So we're going to find us a bit here that is big enough to match this. Too big, but we want it to, hey, what it might just about be our biggest bit. I actually could use another step in between. We'll start with this and work our way up. I think that'll be good because it's going to actually be almost perfectly tight. So what I'm going to do now is see if, this valve, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to see if this new hose will go through here. Basically there's like a anvil that goes out and pinches the line, and that's what cuts this off when you engage this and disengage this. I'm not sure that this hose is going to be First off, maybe too big. I think after a period of time, the hose will collapse due to pressure on it all the time. It may not work perfect right now, but I think it will. So I'm gonna take my hose clamp. This line's a lot stiffer than the original line for sure. It's a lot thicker. And it's made for fuel, so it's going to hold up much better, I would hope. Okay, you just sit back here and run the camera. I'm the master mechanic. You just sit back here and run your camera. So you guys don't know this. I'm going to tell my wife a little bit. So she decided that she was going to take a swan dive off the back porch steps. And basically it was like a car wreck. She's all bruised up and she's been down for a week or so, and that's why some of the last videos really suck, because I did it with a little camera. So here's my fix. That's my on and off valve. And now that'll be off, and then we'll run the hose through here. But what's going to happen is over a period of time, the hose is going to want to go down. So I'm going to put 2 hose clamps on this. All right, so what I'm going to do now that I have this pushed through, I'm going to take this hose clamp, which I can tighten down just a little bit and slide it down here out of the way. And then I'm going to take this pinchy, what I call a pinch clamp, and set it on here. And then we're going to jam this dude on. All right, the hose is pushed on, and I don't want any, I want this to be just like this, on, that's on, that's off. It's off either side. So that's perfect. First off, let me put this clamp on because I don't want to forget that. I'll put it to the back so it doesn't hit my fingers. That one too. Right now I turn the valve, that should be pretty easy. Now this clamp, the only reason I want it here is not to really pinch the hose too hard, but this thing will, over a period of time, this hose will slide down like this. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to leave a little slack up here, and I'm just going to tighten this down so that the hose can't fall through. Like I said, I'm not going to clamp down on it really hard. Just want it to, I don't want it to restrict the flow, but I don't want it to fall down. All right, DMO, you got to move out the way, buddy. It's like I'm coming over in there. What you talking about? All right, so what I want to do is raise his head up so that I can get to the other end of this line a little bit easier. I don't know how much hose we're going to need. Got to have enough to go all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom. So let's disconnect this line. All right, so this is the factory line that come with it, and it's fine for water. Probably would last it for years with water, but it's not really made for diesel. And if you're going to cut pine, I'm finding that diesel is the best choice. So now we have to route this. Let me lower this back down so we get to it. So this had a rubber grommet in it, and this just deteriorated from the sun. But this hose is so much thicker that it will literally last for years before I have any issue with that. So I've got it through, and we'll go from there. Raise his head back up. All right, so I'm gonna let that hang over right here. I'm gonna pinch it behind the head here. Well, maybe I'm not doing as well as I thought. So that's probably too much hose. So this is gonna hook up to the little nozzle, and I got plenty of room. The head's all the way down, so that it won't be any further than that. So I'm gonna take and cut this off right here, hopefully without chopping my finger off. I'll raise this back up so it's easier to work on. Now that I know my measurements are closer to right, now all we need is a hose clamp. And put this hose clamp on. So that's on pretty good. I'll go ahead and take. All right, that should, in theory, be pretty good. I'm gonna pull this up a little bit and have the slack hang over here. I think that'll be better. I may end up putting a zip tie on that side to keep it from going down. You know, it would have been better if I'd put the hose clamp over there on that side too, so it can't fall down. Should have got that much diesel or not. I think the doctor told you not to lift nothing. If I remember right, that's exactly what he says. You know, I went and walked on the treadmill beside your doctor this morning, and we talked about you and what you weren't supposed to be doing. All right, so this dude is, I got the big can. I wish I had the small can, but see if I can do this without making a huge mess. What's the reddest off-road diesel I believe I've ever seen? Okay, I'm not putting all that in there, just in case it leaks. So this valve, it pinches the line, but this line's quite a bit stiffer. I believe over a matter of time, it will pinch this valve off, especially when it gets a little worn in. But right now, when I turn it on, if you watch down there, it just instantly comes out. So I think over a period of time, right now I'm going to have to turn this on and off by hand until this wears in, gets warm, whatever. You know, that line is really cold and stiff, but I think I can pinch it with my finger, so I think after a period of time that spring is going to win. Half one, half two, half three, half four, half five. All right, I'm gonna check this blade one more time. Now we've got all new bearings and everything that's bad. What are you doing, Gizmo? So I know this isn't the same video, but I'm gonna go ahead and give a recap. So we replaced these bearings here, we replaced the guide bearings. They're not touching, they're just almost touching. And then this bearing here, it's got a little play in it, but it seems okay. These bearings on this side are perfectly quiet. All right, so we've got this all set up. The blade's tracking true. The tip of the blade is out on both sides. Looks good. I guess possibly I could track it back a little further. A half turn more. All right. Said that it's turned on. Turn the choke on. Let it warm up. Quieter, a lot less noise, more like it was when it was new. So until this valve or this little rubber hose seats, we're going to have to turn it on by hand. Time for a load.